different books or different blogs or wherever you read, there are many ways to kind of term these movement analytics or logistics analytics or transportation analytics, right? But the meaning almost remains same. Logistics may be at a little higher level, right? Transportation only we are looking into the transportation part of it. Logistics, whenever the transportation is happening, we have to store certain inventory, maybe temporary or maybe in a maybe for few days or few weeks, right? So that is where the logistics will be the main domain. Under that, transportation or movement will happen. So what are the things we are going to cover or we are going to kind of focus on? Few ideas are tactical in nature. Tactical are basically short term, right? And strategic is long term, right? You have a plan, you want to implement some things, right? When you talk about logistics analytics, right, there are certain tactical decisions to be taken and there are certain strategic decisions. Tactical decisions mostly on terms of transportation optimization, and this is the thing or this kind of problem we'll try to solve through simulation later on, maybe on the 8th or 9th session onwards. So what can be a typical problem, right? Let's say there is a manufacturing plant, or let's say simple example, you have this kind of Omped or Milky Moo, those kind of uh, milk producers, manufacturers are there in state of Odisha, West Bengal, and all those places, right? So whenever they're sending their trucks to deliver these milk items, butter, curd, milk, different type of milk products, right? One of the thing or one of the issue they face is how many trucks, which location they have to serve first, right? How many runs has to happen. So this is known as typical problem known as the last mile delivery or the milk run. So how do you decide that what kind of route? Let's say I have 10 trucks and I have 400 grocery shops or different shops where I'll deliver my milk products. What kind of route optimizations would happen? Each truck will take a route and deliver into different customers. Which route, how much quantity those trucks should carry, right? If I do it manually, I can just do it manually. Okay, you do this side, this truck should go north side, this truck should go west side. Like that also people do. It is not necessary that every time you have to do this kind of analytics through a software or a Excel file. But once your number of customers grow, number of trucks grow, it becomes very difficult, right, to manage it manually, or to just like kind of assume something and do. You can do that still and you will make a loss, right? Sometimes items will not reach. Sometimes you have to again maybe hire certain additional trucks, right? So these are the tactical, right? Every day you have to make this kind of decisions, right? Let's say today's demand is 100 quintal or 50 quintal of all product. I have 5 trucks. Each of them can carry only 5 quintal, right? Then maybe I have to hire on contract another 5 trucks, or they may have to do double run. They have to go deliver again, come back deliver, right? So there are different decisions you have to make. So which is not possible to take every time, depending upon the manager, the operations manager or the supply chain manager. If he or she just on his mindset or on his thinking process, he start taking decisions, it will become difficult and company might lose certain revenues, right? So these are the certain tactical decisions we have to take. So then again, there is certain uncertainties and business dynamics. Like I said, not necessarily everyday demand will remain same. And last 2 years, you see there is a external uncertainty. It is something like unknown, right? Nobody can anticipate that. And right now, nobody knows after 6 months whether there will be a lockdown, whether how many days or how many hours of curfew will happen, right? So in those particular cases, can I run those simulation and create a best case scenario? If this happens, then I'll do this, right? So those are the what if or scenario analysis basis. Still tactical processes, but I'm being ready for the future, right? Then the last one, which is little strategic in nature, right? Which need to be happen on a like investment wise, right? What kind of inventory policy I have? It is not that every day you are going to change your inventory policy. Once you fix your inventory policy for your product, for your components, for your items, that need to be for next 3 years or 5 years. theoretically it should be permanently, like till your warehouse exists, because accordingly you will train your warehouse people, accordingly your storage system should be there, right? Where to store your items, where to, how to store your inventory, right? So there are different inventory policies, right? And that is strategic is nature, right? That means strategic means long term. It is not that every day, every week, every month you are changing that. Maybe in few years, 5 years or 10 years, you'll think about updating or changing your inventory policy, right? And all these things again can be done manually. Few small companies, not necessarily every time they are doing it, or doing this through analytics process, but it is better whenever you have a large kind of input data, right? Number of suppliers have increased, number of customers have increased, number of transport vehicles have increased, number of routes have increased. Then in that case it becomes easier, less, you have to put less effort, you have to spend less money, and you can optimize the process, right? So this is where your logistics or transportation analytics work. Short-term tactical nature where you are optimizing the route it will take your transportation vehicles. Strategic in nature, long-term, where you are planning about your inventory policies, right? So again, 7 hours of logistics. So basically, right product. Think about an Amazon warehouse, right? It is now automated to the certain extent that they can, like, and that's what I was talking to you one day, right? Predictive shipping. So they do not wait for our order. Right now, Republic Day is coming. They're providing certain discount, or maybe few years down the Holi celebration will happen. They will provide certain discount. But for the last 10 years, they have collected data. So they know that on the eastern part of India during Holi, these are the item which was bought frequently. So they won't wait that okay, customer will order and they'll start kind of putting, because they are not manufacturing anything, right? Suppliers are going to supply through them. So in that case, what happens? They already kind of get those products from the suppliers, put it in the nearby warehouses, so that whenever you order, not always, not all the products, obviously, but most of the products, right? So they are able to. Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah. So so that is something known as the predictive shipping. So one of the key challenges to find out the right product. Sometimes if you see, like, somebody has ordered a phone and he got a brick, right? And that kind of challenge happens, and mismatch of products, right? And that will kind of decrease the customer experience to a very large extent, right? So that is where you have to remember the, or how to, like, kind of, you have to put your analytics to the use that right product has been delivered to the right customer. Obviously that happens a lot. Sometimes items come delivered to the wrong customer. That is again one main criteria. Right time. If you are kind of promising something, the delivery will happen, let's say, but next Tuesday, next Monday, or whichever day, right? And that's where, if you see in Amazon right now, they're providing, if you are able to, if your delivery is not urgent, you can delay your delivery, right? And they are giving you 20 rupees, 25 rupees coupon, right? So that is where the right time comes into picture. So customer anticipated, or customer was promised that they'll get the product on time by 22nd or 23rd or whichever date, whether we are able to deliver that. So these are all matrices, right? If somebody, let's say, ask you what are the few things as a logistics manager or supply chain manager you will focus on. So these are the few matrices which should be in your dashboard. How many product were missed? That means product mismatch happened. That you have to minimize, right? If you are not able to track that, how will you minimize that, right? So that is where the measure. So once you know that what are the matrices, you have to measure them, then act upon them, right? So product mismatch you have to track, customer mismatch you have to track, timing mismatch you have to track, right? So today I have given you an assignment which talks about how many products there was a delay in freight, how many products they arrived on early, right? So that is something again you have to calculate. Right place, let's say there is a customer, when he selected the, like, kind of whichever location, he might have multiple locations, because like, people change cities, right? But by mistake, when you were sending that product, it went to some different city or different location, same customer, you have a right customer, right product, time is also right. Matlab, you have like delivered the item within right time, but the place or the location of the customer was wrong. Might be in your system the address was not updated. Right condition, obviously it a lot talks about the product is not damaged, right? Packaging plays a major role there in that case. Right quantity, again it can be again combined with the right product. When somebody were talking about right product, that also takes care of the product with the right quantity. Then the right cost. Right cost has nothing to do with the customer. This is something which is your internal metrics. Because to deliver a customer, to like kind of deliver a product to a customer, you might have calculated something. Okay, this is my delivery cost. If you are kind of going beyond that number, that is a additional cost to you, right? So these are the few matrices. If somebody asks you what are the dashboard items, if or what are the matrices you should take care of as a logistics or supply chain manager, out of these seven, if you are able to tell all these seven, good. Or kind of at least four or five of them if you are able to recall, that is great, right? So the ideal way to just remember, you think of as a Amazon customer or a Flipkart customer, what are the challenges you have faced? Sometimes product mismatch might have happened, right? So product mismatch can be one matrix. Customer, like sometimes product, some other product might have come to you, right? So you think about the from company side, what was the problem? Because there was a customer mismatch, then timing mismatch. They promise something, they are not able to deliver on time. So these things should be your KPIs, right? So that you are able to reduce all these uh, kind of uh, kind of matrices, right? Any questions on this? So there are few changes or kind of technological innovation which has happened. We're not going to talk about everything because there are certain manufacturing like kind of product based innovations also. Think about fully autonomous trucks, right? You need not have to kind of depend on a availability of driver, right? And think about in this way, one of the biggest advantage of fully autonomous trucks is it is only wait, or it will only kind of stop somewhere to give a rest to the machine, right? But for a human, if persons are driving trucks, at least they need to have a sleep of 8 to 10 hours. So within 24 hours period, approximately they drive for 10 or 12 hours, because in between they have to take rest, otherwise their productivity will come down. But if it is autonomous truck, every 6 hours, maybe half an hour, it has to stop, then again recharge and again go, right? So the productivity will increase, right? The distance covered will increase. Obviously other benefits like accidents might decrease and all those things will happen. Drone and unmanned aerial vehicles, that is there. Drone delivery, some e-commerce companies have started at least trying to try out that. Anticipatory logistics, that is what I was talking about. Predictive shipping, right? You do not wait for customers order. Depending upon the past trend, you predict what are the items customers are going to order, right? Uber for truckers, like you, we have Uber, or let's say this kind of Ola in our case, to move from point A to B. And if you see, a lot of startups in India are coming up with that idea, right? Because earlier what used to happen, you have to go to your local truck. Let's say I want to move from point A to B. Let's say got transport from Bangalore to Bhubaneswar or Bhubaneswar to Delhi. So they will charge me, let's say this is to transport all your household items, it is 25,000 or 30,000 or 50,000. But again, I have to go to another trucker, then I have to compare, then find out the whichever the lowest cost or the best possible option for me. Now a lot of startups are working on that. Sitting at home, I can just find out who are the transporters and which transport I should go by with. Then there is a like sharing of your load, right? Let's say I have only half truckload of household items, another tenant is living to the same city, then we can share the cost also. Like in Uber, I don't know right now, I think for COVID that option is no longer there, but it used to happen, right? You used to go through those sharing of taxis. Then what else? Warehouse sharing obviously. If you have a physical space, you can share with your competitor, not necessarily competitors, other companies, right? Cloud logistics, which is happening over kind of your uh, website or apps, right? You need not have to physically go and book a transporter, right? You know exactly where your products are, which location, and you can track them through websites or cloud. Circular economy logistics. uh, can anybody tell me what does this circular economy means? Basically, whichever consumption is happening, right? Most of the electronics, mobile products, laptops, right? What happens? We use it for 5 and 10 years, then after we discard it, right? But there will be certain components, right? Earlier what used to happen, they used to throw it out like garbage, but now some of the components are very costly, and we have a resource hungry world or a resource hungry country. We do not have that much raw resources. So now what happens, companies are utilizing those discarded products, taking out those components or the raw material and trying to reuse it. So it becomes a circular. It becomes whatever you use again, go back and reuse it, right? That is where your reverse logistics also come into picture, right? Uh, so these are the few things: remote diagnostics, fleet monitoring system. Obviously these are the few advantages of putting those sensors or internet on thing kind of devices on different vehicles, right? So there are different categories of technological advances. And any questions, anything you want to you want me to explain? So these are the five top things or five main things we want to discuss on the transportation or logistics analytics. First is obviously location analytics. Which location, though not necessarily it will come under uh, purely transportation or logistics. Overall supply chain, if I say yes, it will be part of supply chain, where I want to understand where should I put my warehouses, where should I put my cross docking stations, right? So these are the location analytics, right? Which location, so like for example, fire department, when though it is not necessarily a supply chain challenge, they have to put a fire station whenever a city is deciding where to put their fire station. It used to has to be a location where it can reach anywhere within the minimum time, acceptable time, right? Inventory diagnostics, right? Here we are looking into the same thing like that what we discussed in the last slide, right? Or two slides before. We need to have right inventory. It should reach the right customer, right time, right quantity, right? So those are the inventory diagnostics. We have to carry out regular inventory audit to understand whether we are maintaining those key matrices, key performance indicators. Resource and route optimization, which is a major part of logistics analytics, right? Which route my trucks or vehicles should take, how many weight they should carry, whether it should be a full truckload or a less than truckload, right? Then fulfillment intelligence is about the, let's say we are selling those items, FMCG products at different locations, Reliance Retail, Big Bazaar, any grocery shops, anywhere, right? We should ensure that our products are there in the shelves, right? It is not running out. We should have that kind of intelligence, right? So generally what happens, there is a concept called vendor managed inventory, right? So PNG, HUL, I don't know whether they're doing it in India or not. They make sure, so they have the store intelligence with them, let's say in Walmart. So they have collaboration mainly with Walmart. PNG has a collaboration with Walmart, so that they'll put sensors in those shelves. Whenever their items, PNG items are running out, automatically from the warehouse, PNG, whatever the products are running out, will go and those resources will be replenished, right? So that what happens, those Walmart employees or the logistics manager need not have to order it. It all these things happens automatically. So this is known as vendor, one aspect of vendor managed inventory. So this is Walmart's inventory, right? In Walmart, they are selling PNG product, HUL products, many brands products, right? But PNG is actually managing the inventory. Their inventory, whatever the products of Procter and Gamble being sold at Walmart, that is actually being managed by PNG, right? Because they do not want any customer to come and do not find their PNG's products in the Walmart shelves. So that is where the fulfillment intelligence comes into picture. Reverse logistics, there are many regions of reverse logistics. Sometimes return happens from the customer, normal returns. Sometimes product recall happens. There is a manufacturing defect in the product and company recalling the product, right? Sometimes company pay for like kind of certain uh, incentives for like customers to send back the product, right? Let's say the water bottle in some countries, because those are plastic bottles, can be reused. Companies ask, uh, if you go back and send those plastic bottles or give back those plastic bottles, you'll get certain discount, very minimal discount, but still it is an incentive for customers, right? These are the overall 5 things we are going to cover. Again, the theory part, we'll come back, and after you like next 3 or 4 sessions, we'll try to learn this or understand this through simulation, right? Location analytics, like I said, where my distribution center should be placed, right? What kind of travel time it takes to reach out to distribution center, right? And visualize, monitor which is the optimal for me, which are the optimal locations where I should put distributor centers and your cross docking locations, right? Which will come under the overall supply chain analytics. Optimization algorithm, right? So there are different optimizations algorithm. Will not again get into the mathematical details of it. It will take a little bit of time, but we'll see that how those optimization algorithms are being used to give us those insights or results. Then inventory diagnostics, right? So mostly SAP is one of the big player in this market, where they have integrated, because they are the main one of the major player in ERP system, right? HANA is the one of the major visualization or inventory diagnostic tool, right? Uh, so your data being stored in the master database, then through HANA Studio. So again, that is a platform from SAP, right? You can do the analysis and find out what kind of, where you are lacking, right? Let's say there is a delay in delivery for certain inventory, there is a back order for certain inventory, there is excess inventory for certain kind of items or components, right? So like this, you can get a dashboard for different regions, different products, out of stock, overstock rate for each of your out of stock product. What are the rate you are going to pay? Lost revenue. Let's say there is order you are not able to produce or you are not able to supply to the customers. So those will provide you the lost revenue, right? So these are the, like again, different type of analytics you can carry out with this. So like you did in last class, right? So that you carried out in Excel, but again there are different softwares. You just have to input the input data and it will give you lot of diagnostics and lot of dashboard results. Same thing you can do it in Tableau, Power BI, right? Not necessarily you have to use SAP HANA. Then resource and route optimization. So now let's say I have my distributor, like in the first location intelligence, I decided where should my distribution centers or warehouses should be there, forwarding centers or the cross docking stations should be there. Now what I'm deciding, how to optimize my transportation. So in under transportation, there are two things I have to optimize: how many vehicles or transportation vehicles I need to use, how much weight they should carry, right? How many products or how many items they should carry. Then what are the routes they should take? If they're trying to deliver to 20 customers, what is the exact route they should take, right? So let's say manufacturing plant to the distribution center to customer shipment via less than truckload, right? So less than truckload means it is not fully loaded. Let's say whatever 10,000 kgs or 1,000 kgs it should carry, less than that it is carrying those trucks, right? from my manufacturing distribution center to the plant or warehouses, or I can combine them and send through truckload, and from the distribution center to the customers it can go less than truckload, right? So there are various permutation and combinations can happen depending upon how many distribution centers I have. Let's say in between I do not have any distribution center, it will directly go to the customers, then that is one scenario. Or in between I have these kind of distribution centers where my full truckloads will go, and from those distribution centers to the customers or the grocery shops or the modern retail outlets, less than truckload will go, right? So imagine the scenario, imagine the complexity, right? Imagine for a very big company, the complexity of distribution, how many trucks from a plant, from a warehouse, every day they have to decide depending upon the demand, depending upon how much item, how many products they are delivering, again depending upon the product also, right? Some products need certain additional storage, certain products can be damaged easily, right? Grocery items, let's say atta, dal, chawal, transporting them will be little bit easier rather than milk, curd, butter, all those things, right? So you have to decide on that also, right? So again, the same example, if I have kind of this kind of kind of weights, right? 20,000 pounds and 10,000 pounds, right? I can put it one truckload and one less than truckload to two different companies. So it will cost me around how much? 1,550, right? Dollars. Or I can have a bigger truck which will charge me $1,120. It will first go to the ABC company, then go to the XYG company, right? So these kind of route dynamics, right? For a, let's say if this is only two trucks, two customers, it is very easy. You need not have to have a software, right? It is manually you can do and kind of decide on that. But when the number of customers, number of trucks, number of products, number of components increase, right? Manually you can will not able to do it, right? You have to take help of certain algorithm, software, or simulation, right? And this is something again we'll focus, like I said before. Before we jump into the next slide, any questions or any doubt? Okay, so this is not necessarily part of analytics, but why did I put it? Because today's assignment, which I'll discuss maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, covers this, and at least not from the analytics side, but some of you who are from operations or interested in supply chain, you should know these terms, right? Because most of the purchases, if you are working in a multinational company, right, purchases or selling happens across border, right, not necessarily within India, right? Whenever we are talking about international shipment, these are the few key terms you have to understand, remember, because this becomes very vital, right? And mostly if you are getting into the purchase side of the supply chain, purchase procurement side, this is like I used to have this printed, and for 5 years where I worked before, in the beginning of my career, I used to put on my near my decks, because initially again you do not know what the difference between these terms. Not necessarily you have to remember all of this, but at least you should know that what does it mean, one or two terms, right? Think about two companies, uh, anything you are transporting or anything you are getting from USA, Europe, or any other country, right, outside India, right? How, what are the terms and conditions, right? So inco terms means international commercial terms, international commercial terms. Each 5 years or 10 years, those terms keep changing, right? That doesn't mean the definition will change, but certain rules and conditions, slight changes happens. Blue means seller's obligation, then this is the where the transfer of risk happens. Red means buy, or the whatever the color is shows here, that is buyer's obligation, right? Let us try to understand through an example. Maruti is, let's say, uh, importing certain engines or certain batteries from USA, or let's say Germany, right, or Japan, whichever country is your favorite. So what are the different, because these conditions will be essential on your pricing, right? How much price you are going to pay, who is going to take the risk, what are the terms and conditions of delivery. So the simplest one is X works, which is the very like kind of risk free for your seller. Somebody, let's say in the Germany, they are sending or selling us the engines to Maruti, right? So X works means his obligation ends at X work, his plant or assembly line or warehouse. From that point onwards, bringing that product to the buyer, to the like Maruti plant, is all Maruti's obligation. So he might, obviously it is not that Maruti's manager has to go. So there are various these third party logistics companies, right? They take care of that. But overall the payment has to be made from Maruti's side, or whichever the company who is importing it, right? So these are basically import export terms. So X works means the product obligation, the transfer of risk. So if once my manufacturing is complete and I say I am ready for dispatch, so that Germany manufacturer, right, the engine manufacturer will say, my engines, you had ordered 1,000 engines, they are ready for dispatch, now give me the payment. This is X works. So agreed place is your seller's place. Free carrier is once I transport it, once I put those engines in the truck or trailer, that is free on carrier, right? Free carrier or free on carrier. Free alongside ship, mostly because majority of the transportation, import, export happens through ship, but not, when I say ship, not only through water transport, it means also air transport also, right? Sometimes emergency items being transported through, or small weights are small, that can be transported through aircrafts also, right? So free alongside ship means near the port, let's say whichever the Germany port they are sending, till that time the supplier will take the obligation, then it is with the buyer. Free on board means it is boarded to the ship. So because see, in each step there is a cost associated with. It is not that they'll take to the warehouse, then the custom check will happen from their side, then it will be boarded. That means those kind of requirement of heavy machines will come and board that into the ship, right? Most of the times this is the standard term, like most of the like import purchase agreement happens based on free on board, right? Out of maybe 60 to 70 percentage, but others also happen. Then cost and freight, that means cost and freight up to the port of destination. That means let's say it is from Germany's whatever port, it is coming to Mumbai, or let's say Visakhapatnam, right? To that point it will be cost plus freight. The freight, whatever 2% and 3% will be taken care by the seller. Then insurance is a big, so today what assignment I have given you. So in some cases insurance cost is high, freight cost is high. Some cases if freight cost is not given, so I have told you to take as 3% of the item value. Generally for purchase agreements we consider that around 2.5 to 3.5 percentage, right? So that cost, let's say it is a 1 crore item, total worth is 1 crore or 10 crore, so 3 lakhs or 30 lakhs of freight cost will be involved. Then cost paid to, so this generally doesn't happen because once it is on the port of destination, so it is your India's country rules, India's custom, right? Most companies do not enter into that they'll say that cost paid to, and on the place of destination they will put the material, unless they have a very good third party logistics guy will say that okay, yes, I'll take the uh, like responsibility and deliver it to the seller's location, right? So deliver at place unloaded, deliver at place delivered, duty paid, all the custom duty, everything paid. Now on the destination, buyer's destination, the items reach, right? So if you see where the transfer of risk is happening, so in the X works, just on the plant or the warehouse, my items are ready for now. Now the transfer of risk happen. That means now the transfer of title of the product goes to the buyer, right? Now seller is not obligated. If some damage happens, you have to have your insurance, you have to be ready for everything, right? So if you see in different terms, different type of kind of this transfer of risk happens, right? Not necessarily you have to remember everything, but understand that there is something international commercial terms which apply whenever you are sending material outside or purchasing material from outside India, right? Any questions you want to ask on this? So these are basically short terms, like so nobody writes these words in the contract. If you go and just in Google search for some international purchase agreement, so these words will be written either FCA or FOB or XO or something like that. It will be written. Then next is your fulfillment intelligence, right? So that is where you make sure that whatever items you are being sent to the customers, right? You are able to again those things, right customer, right place, right time, all those things you are able to maintain, right? So there are different SAP, then your Oracle, both are ERP system giants, then Magneto, Shopify, these are different platforms which will have this ERP and order management, right? So how does it happens? In case shopping cart conversations, if you are sending it through website, let's say mostly for e-commerce companies, right? Knowing your cost at time of order, right? This is what I was talking about, the right cost, right? So for each supplier it is very necessary to understand that to deliver the product at customer's place, what is the total cost, right? Because sometimes they have to keep insurance. If it is a highly priced product, they have to take the insurances also, right? Optimal inventory location, where should my warehouses should be placed? E-commerce companies, they have to identify those locations depending upon the demand, where should their kind of product or those kind of inventory should be stored, which locations, which warehouses. Same day delivery, if you are promising same day delivery, what are the techniques, what are the like kind of operational efficiencies you have to bring in? Ideal routing logic, this anyhow we have discussed in the previous slide. Increased customer satisfaction, ideally everything you are doing custom to make customers happy so that you can get more orders, right? So this is WMS, is warehouse management system. So there is again different softwares. So this is where SAP is basically predominant, that's what I told you, right? Because they have this kind of ERP system along with warehouse management system. Then HANA Studio is doing this kind of data visualizations and analytics. So they are a major player in this kind of domain. So order data, product dimensions, product weights being stored in your order management system. So now because you are defining, right, which carrier will take which product, so all the details of products should be stored, all to dimensions, packaging dimensions, right? Whether additional some safety measures are required, right? Or additional storage facilities required, right? So those information should be stored in your ERP system. Then warehouse management system, WMS, warehouse data, inventory, packaging dimensions, again where you are storing, because that is a big challenge, right? Warehouse has a limited space, no matter how big your warehouse is, right? How many products you can store, how many, what kind of dimensions those products have that you can store. Not necessarily every product you can store in your warehouse, right? Then TMS is basically transportation management system, transportation data, schedules, delivery date, when the product will go from. Just imagine now you go and order 5 or 10 items from Amazon, different sellers, different suppliers. Automatically it is showing the delivery date, right? Automatically. So internally what will be happening? Okay, this item is in this location. So how much time it will take to deliver to the customer? So within few seconds, not even few seconds, it is already calculated for you, right? Millisecond it is done. So these internally these kind of calculations are happening through this kind of data collection and data analytics. Then which kind of carrier, right? Your own internal carrier or outside carrier you are taking help from, right? Logistics data carrier, rates, route, contract terms, right? Those also need to be optimized, right? Because see, whenever FedEx or DHL they are taking orders from, obviously for Amazon it is a big customer, but smaller companies, smaller, let's say you start a e-commerce company, tomorrow let's say you start buying certain items through Instagram or you have your own website. So FedEx and DHL, they will not take orders with you, right? So they'll say that okay, I need minimum this much quantity or this many products monthly. Below that, I'll not take any order, right? So obviously for Amazon that is not a issue, but smaller companies, smaller e-commerce companies, that becomes a challenge to overcome, right? Finally, what we are trying to do, inventory accuracy, whatever data we have, right? Warehouse inventory management system maintain accurate fulfillment so that we do not have much back order, neither we have excess inventory. Implement slotting optimization, right? So that is where there are different, when we discuss about inventory, there are different slotting mechanism, right? Slotting mechanism means the way you store products in warehouses, whether a fixed slot, this product will go to a fixed location, right? This item, so names will be there, items will go into that location only, item will be stored in that location, a random slot. So whichever items are being ordered frequently, those will be near to your transportation vehicles or the carrier that wherever your loading or unloading happens. Integrate with suppliers, right? This is very necessary in today's world, right? All your information from supplier side should be accessible to you. Your information should be accessible to the supplier also, right? Add a smart warehouse system. Most of the warehouses for the top companies, they are putting a lot of investment in this kind of yeah, technological innovation, IoT sensors, right, robotics, so that lot of manual intervention can be reduced, right? Improve supply chain visibility. Here the concept of data visualization matrices, right? Unless you can see it, visualize it, what is happening. A small company, it's okay. They're selling 5 or 10 products, everything calculation, every data point is in your head. But for a bigger company, you need to have proper data storage, data analysis facility, right? This is where the fulfillment intelligence works. Any questions or any doubt on this? So last one, our kind of transportation or logistics analytics, reverse logistics, right? So reverse logistics, like I said, can have different way of reverse logistics. Forward logistics means from supplier to the customer. Reverse means from customers to the supplier, right? So that is the wording of reverse. So why reverse logistics happens? One is recall, right? Product faulty product, mobile phone batteries overheating, or your car there is certain malfunctions on certain components. There is a recall from the manufacturer itself, or the return, right? Product was not delivered on time, there are defective products. So that is not a manufacturing defect, might be due to packaging there is a defect, or customer ordered something, something else came, right? So those all be return, right? So those are returned to the agency, they will bear the transportation cost. Because just imagine in Amazon, whichever we are returning, those are not costing to us. Finally, those supplier, if they have sent certain wrong items, they will be penalized, right? Now certain things which are income for organizations, right? Repair, right? Warranty is over, again it will come under reverse logistics. Now the customer is going and giving the, let's say your laptop warranty is over, you want to manufacture it, and you go to the, rather than going to the small shops, you go to the company manufacturer itself. Let's say it is from Lenovo, you go to the Lenovo shop, right? So that is where the repair happens, right? It is actually income source for the company, right? Because there will be components they'll put and they'll charge it to you, right? Return, sometimes like I said, uh, companies give those kind of incentives to customers, your old mobile phones, old laptops being returned, so that companies can reuse that, right? So okay, that is actually will come under recycle or reuse. Return basically the vegetable trays and all those things, right? So that is basically you send it back and again they being again used, right? Recycle, this is where your mobile phones or laptop which you have discarded, right? Those, some raw material, some metal items, component, right? Rather than manufacturing it again, that can be recycled and used again, right? So that is actually, I think there is a study that they can save up to 5 to 10% of the laptop cost. If laptop cost is let's say 30,000 or 35,000 to manufacture, they can save up to 5 to 10%, minimum 1500 or 2000 rupees they can save if they are able to recycle the products from customers. Refurbishment, as you see that in Amazon, Flipkart, most of the times refurbished products are being sold. New products customer did not like, you send it, small manufacturing defect, you repair it again, sell it, right, with almost near to the close to the original cost. Remanufacturing, so sometimes you need little bit of, rather than refurbishment is slight like cosmetic changes, remanufacturing it, you take the items, make certain changes, advances, again sell it to the customer or new customer, right? Remarketing, right? Same items which either was sold to the customer or which were in the warehouse, right? Some items were not sold which were in your warehouse, you change the packaging, right? You increase the quantity, and now what you say, let's say some of the soaps, Mysore Sandal or whichever company, they are selling soaps. Now what happened, they realize that okay, for the last 1 year these are the products being stored in the warehouse, so what they'll do, 3 plus 1, 3 soaps plus 1, then remarketing will happen, right? So that is again will happen. Let's say those soaps were returned back from the retailers or the shops. Now what you're doing, you're taking the same soap, you're just remarketing it, rather than selling it individually, you're saying, so buy 3 soaps, you'll get 1 additional, right? 3 plus 1 offer, right? So if you look into the product flow, from supplier, the raw material is coming, components are coming to the factory, right? From factory, it is going to the distributor, wholesaler. From wholesaler to the stores or consumers. Consumers are getting those items, right? So this is the regular channel. Then once happens, consumers might return defective or excess product. Let's say the quantity were there in the stores. It was like I was telling about the soaps. Soaps are lying for last 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. They'll return it back to the company, right? Brand. Seasonal returns. Some items like let's say winter clothes, or let's say these umbrellas, right? Those are seasonal items. Rainy season gone, nobody will buy umbrella. Now after 1 month, those winter jackets, shawls, all those things will be returned, right? Because no company, or let's say those pantaloons and all those people will not keep that, right? Now once those items due to very many regions, right, send it to the company, right, distributor, now there are many options for the company, right? So forward is this straight lines, reverse is this dotted lines, right, returning back to the manufacturer factory, right? Some item might again go back to the supplier also, right? There is, let's say there is a defect in, let's say, product recall, and there is a defect in carburetors, right? So those carburetor will go back to the sellers who had sold those carburetors. They will work on those carburetors, repair it or whatever, send the new carburetors, right? Because that was the defective product. Some product all will be processed in the factory itself, right? Like let's say seasonal returns, winter clothes. So they'll see that okay, whether same clothes can be sold in the next winter season. If it cannot be stored till that long, can the raw material, the wools, those nylon, all those items can be processed or not, right? So these certain items, certain processes will happen in the factory or distributor itself, right? And again will be send it to the customers either through a regular channel, right? So I can sell those products in the regular price, regular e-commerce or store, right, without any change in prices, or in a discount channel also, right? Like I said, rather than selling, I can reduce the price, I can say that one buy one get one free. So if you see all those items which we generally buy and say that we are saving a lot, most of the times have been processed through this, right? Either they are going to be at the end of their product lifeline, or they are basically were not being sold in the last year or last to last year, right? So this is how your reverse logistics works. Any questions or any doubt on this?
Sir,
Yeah.
so what do you mean by goodwill written on the flow chart? And I mean in the flow chart, sir, because it is written waste and goodwill. What do you mean by that, sir?
Goodwill in the sense, right, some of the items are being sent to, let's say, uh, not that, let's say clothes, right, winter clothes and all those things, right? Companies, let's say they understand that okay, it cannot be again reprocessed, right? What they'll do, they'll send it to their anathrams where they can be like kind of used, right? They give it for basically charity type, right? Because
Okay,
they
okay.
understand that they cannot reuse it again, resell it again, so they distribute it to all these orphanages and all those places. Not
Okay,
necessarily all the items, but some items.
okay, sir. Thank you.
And any last question? So that's all for today. We have another half an hour anyhow. Like I'll just take 5 to 10 minutes to show you the data set and discuss what you exactly have to do. Let me just open that. So this is the data set I have taken for these pharmaceutical companies, right? Which basically WHO was coordinating. So from different country to other countries, different vendors are kind of if you see like there are like kind of I think 1,000, not necessarily 1,000, but close to that number of vendors are there. Different type of medicines, dosage type, test kit, unit, then line item, quantity, number of packs, line item value, per pack price, per unit price, right? So per pack price different divided by number of units, that will give you the per unit price, where actually it was manufactured, right? Then what was the weight of that product, freight cost, whether insurance was provided, right? Line item insurance was provided, right? So, so in some cases, freight cost is not given. It is written that freight included in the commodity cost, right? Total cost, whichever you find it here per pack cost, this is already included. The freight cost is included in the this pack price, right? So there I have indicated that take that as 3%, right? 3% generally we take as freight cost, right? Insurance is not applicable everywhere. Some items there is a USD. Obviously, all the numbers are rich in US dollars, right? So what I have asked you basically, just identify the items where there was a delay in delivery, right? By 3 days, right? So if you go, so that should be a simple calculation, right? Schedule delivery date and deliver to the client date, right? And it can happen both way. It can be some items will be delivered early also, right? But I have put a conditions. Find out those items where delivered before 15 days, right? Before 2 weeks, and where it was delayed 3 days, right? There will be certain items which was delayed by more than 3 days. Find out those items. Find out the other items where there is a kind of early delivery more than 15. That means 15 days before, let's say 16 days, 7 days, like that, it has been delivered. Then identify 30 items where freight cost by item value. Find out those items where freight cost by item value is maximum, top 30 items. Then top 30 items where insurance cost by item value is there, right? Like I said, not all the items have insurance. Wherever it is not there, consider insurance is not there or insurance cost is 0. But wherever insurance cost is there, find out those specific top 30 items where insurance cost is by freight, insurance cost by item value is maximum, right? Top 30 items. And then find out the total shipment value by shipment mode. So this is where your that Incoterms comes, right? Shipment terms. So like some items were delivered by where here some items were delivered by truck, right? Because in the locally within a country or within a state, some items might be ship or other kind of carriers, right? Find out the total shipment value through air, through different. How many are there? Just let me check. So air, ocean freight, truck. That means there are three, mostly three. Air and air charter you can combine together, right? So air transport, ocean transport, ship transport, or land transport, truck, right? So shipment kind of air shipment, what is the total value of shipment? Ocean transport, what is the total value? And land transportment, what is the total value? Also find out different Incoterm wise, what is the total order value? So all the Incoterms are mentioned here. X works, FCA, free on carrier, delivery duty, unpaid delivery duty paid, right? So these were the Incoterms which was discussing, right? So Incoterm wise, international commercial term wise, what is the total shipment value, right? Total how many shipment has happened? I think that is up to 9,000, 10,000 rows around there, right? 10,320 rows, right? Shipments. So out of that, how many total shipment value of X was, total shipment value is of free on carrier, whatever the different Incoterms are there, right? So these are kind of your assignment for next class. Before next class, you have to complete that. Okay. And any questions or any doubt? Again, one suggestion: whenever I'm giving an assignment, right? It is not that you are doing that. Just imagine yourself you are working in a company, right? If I just say that okay, these are the highlighted items. What I had asked you last class, highlight the 50 items, and you have just put the color, right? If you go and show it to your manager, manager will say like, who taught you, right? There are different options in Excel, right? So you have to highlight means you have to put a separate Excel, not Excel, separate sheet where you'll show those top 50 items, right? Having that whatever the parameters I had given you, right? Otherwise, your manager, if you give, you just highlight it yellow, red, he will be searching through that total Excel file, right? Ideal scenario will be you will create a dashboard out of for each of them. Dashboard means you are showing certain visually, right? These are the top 50 items, right? These are the top 50 items where your back order is happening or where your excess inventory is happening. What is the average excess inventory value? What is the average back order value, right? Those are the things you could have shown. If not, that is anyway, I did not ask. I had just asked you the top 50. But I see most of you have just put color and some of you have not done at all the calculation also. So how will I know that you have actually did that calculation to find out those back order or the excess inventory, right? So think like whenever you are doing this analysis, it is not only that I have to gain something from this, right? You have to present something, right? How nicely you can put that, right? If somebody is looking into your data analysis, he should be in a position, okay, this is the things. So those 5 things I want to understand. How clearly I am able to find my answers. But if you go that same data file to your manager or your management, they are not going to search through it again, right? Finding out what they asked. I know that there is a time constraint, not necessarily that every time you will able to find time for this kind of assignment. But whenever you are, whatever part you are doing, right? Even if you answer only one question out of those 5, right? Try to give justice for that, right? And that's why I told distribute your work. If one person is doing every time, it won't be possible that that person will get overloaded. Either distribute overall work, someone will do exercise 1, other will do exercise 2, or each time I'm giving assignment, kind of divide the work. That is the better way to do it, right? Divide the work. Okay, you do first question, other person will do second question, third person will do third question, like that, so that all those 5 members are have equal workload, right? If you do not have any more questions, I'll close the session for today.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I missed my attendance.
Roll number
349.
349. Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, 226.
226. Swaroop. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo. Thank you.